We say shalom and good evening, La'ila Tub, to the whole house of Yasha'al, the whole Ba'if of Yasha'al, all 12 tribes, worldwide, wherever your feet are touching the soil on this evening. To the elder Ak, Yehuda, to the younger Ak, Ephraim, to the former stranger, the former Gentile, the former nation, the former foreigner, who was formerly estranged from the everlasting covenant, but having received the ruach of adoption, and whereby now becoming an adopted son or daughter, and whereby now becoming a fellow citizen and a fellow partaker of the everlasting covenant that and promise and inheritance that was given to Yasha'al and to Yasha'al alone. Shalom, shalom to you worldwide, wherever your feet are touching the soil on this evening. Peace and blessings to you and your house. Shalom and barakut to both you and your entire household, wherever your feet are touching the soil on this yom, and wherever you are currently sitting and listening to the sound of my voice. Shalom to you, and good evening. Once again, welcome back to YAHUAH'S Remnant Midweek Gathering. I am Dawood Ban Yahuwah, and this is my Aisha Ashayah.
Shalom.
Barak Yahuwah. Barak Yahuwah. And once again, for those who would like to join us live, the contact information for YAHUAH'S Remnant is in the channel description. So if you're interested in joining us live, the contact information is there. Barak Yahuwah, Barak Yahuwah. To those of you who are on YouTube who will listen to this later on, once again, we're grateful that you have been led to join YAHUAH'S Remnant. We pray that as you have been listening, that you have been convicted, that you have been edified, that you have been encouraged. Barak Yahuwah. During this muadah, this appointed time. Barak Yahuwah. Barak Yahuwah. So here we are, Ms. Parker. We are exactly 2 weeks out from Pasakh. We are exactly 2 weeks out from today, from celebrating the Pasakh, the feast of Pasakh. This is the 4th day of the week, and this is a special 4th day of the week. This is spring equinox on the Enochian calendar, equal day, equal night. Tomorrow, Barak Yahuwah, will be the first day of the first month of the new year. Barak Yahuwah. In other words, tomorrow will be our new year. And we're grateful that Abba has allowed us to come this far. Indeed, we were born for such a time as this. We are seeing the manifestation of Scripture manifest right before our eyes. And this is a wonderful time indeed to be alive. This is a time in which many long to see, this day. But you and I have been born for such a time as this. Barak Yahuwah. Indeed, as it has been mentioned, that this is a muadah. This is an appointed time. This is an appointed season. Tomorrow, which will begin the new year, it also begins the Jubilee year. Tomorrow will begin the Jubilee year. It will begin the 50th year. And indeed, this is a special time. This is a special time. Do not take it lightly. Do not take it as coincidence. Barak Yahuwah. This is a special time, and Abba is trying to get the attention of his people, to whomever has eyes to see, and whomever has ears to hear, and whomever has an heart to understand. And so we're here 2 weeks out from Pasakh now, and Abba has previously spoken to us 3 Pasakh preparation messages. The first message was entitled, Wash Your Hands, Ye Sinners, Pasakh Preparation. And in that message, Yahuwah impressed upon us the importance, not only the importance, but that it is mandatory that we be clean for Pasakh, that our hands be clean, that our hearts be clean, because it is a very dangerous thing to partake of his kadosh things with uncleanness upon us. It can cost us our lives to lightly esteem his things and to partake of them with uncleanness on us, with knowing that we have uncleanness on us. That is a very, very dangerous thing. Indeed, the text tells us, the scriptures tells us, that it is a fearful thing to fall into the hands of a living Elohim. The next week, Abba spoke to us about, are you not ashamed? Are you not ashamed? Pasakh preparation. And in that message, he showed us that it is also mandatory in not only having your hands cleansed and having your heart cleansed, but it is mandatory to have a circumcision, not one of the flesh, but one of the heart, and having a clean heart, because uncleanness, evil, sin, it proceeds from the heart. And so it is important to have a circumcised heart, having examined the heart for leaven, having examined the heart for darkness, and having come to Abba naked and ashamed, coming to him, bringing the darkness to light, because nothing is hidden before him, bringing it before him, praying to him and crying out to him to forgive us of our crimes and to cover the naked areas, Indeed, if one does not have the circumcision of the heart, he or she does not belong to Yahuwah, and this feast is not for them. This feast does not belong to them. This past Shabbat, he spoke to us from the subject, a sign forever, Pasakh preparation. A sign forever, Pasakh preparation. And in that teaching, or in that message, he uncovered some things that perhaps most of us had never seen before, had never heard before. And he gave us a new understanding of what Pasakh means. He gave us a new understanding of what it means to be delivered from darkness, to be transferred from the kingdom of darkness into the reign of light, into the esteem of his son. We have a new understanding of what Pasakh means now. Having gained these understandings, having gained all of these understandings, Yahuwah, and this will be part 4 in Pasakh preparation. This will be the final teaching. This will be the final message in Pasakh preparation. And so having laid that foundation, he wants to speak to us tonight, if you're taking notes, from the subject, bring your best praise. Bring your best praise, Pasakh preparation. Bring your best praise, Pasakh preparation. Pasakh preparation. Indeed, we want to bring our best praise to Pasakh. We want to come expecting nothing. We want to come expecting nothing, because Yahuwah has already done enough for us. He's already done enough. He's already transferred us from the kingdom of darkness and brought us into his marvelous light. He has already entered into an everlasting covenant with us, those who indeed have received his Ruach. And he has indeed already purchased us by his Sheddam, in which he has poured out all of his life, all of his blood for us. All of his blood, all of his dam, all of his life, he has poured out for us. He has poured it out for his firstborn son. And so we need to come not expecting anything. Not expecting anything, because he's already given enough. He's already done enough. He's already given all. So we don't need to come expecting anything. We need to come bringing our best praise and bringing him his due. Bringing him his due, bringing him his offerings, expecting nothing. Expecting nothing. And so tonight, he wants to talk to us about Pasakh preparation, and but in that sense and in that context, he wants to speak to us clearly on how we should be celebrating Shabbat. How we should be celebrating Pasakh. How we are to celebrate Pasakh. I've gotten many questions on how do I celebrate Pasakh? What should I do? What is required of me? What is required of my household? How do I celebrate Pasakh? Tonight, prayerfully, Yahuwah is going to answer all of those questions. He's going to, once and for all, clearly and distinctly answer all of those questions. And so if you're on YouTube, if you have not listened to the first 3 teachings about Pasakh preparation, stop this video right now and begin at the very first one, cleanse your hands, ye sinners, Pasakh preparation. Move on to the second one, are you not ashamed, Pasakh preparation. And then move on to the third one, a sign forever, Pasakh preparation. Before moving on to the fourth and last one, bring your best praise, Pasakh preparation. Bring your best praise, Pasakh preparation. And so tonight we're going to look at some of the letter of guarding Shabbat, because the letter has not been done away with. The letter is still relevant, but in this season, we understand, those of us who are of the regeneration, we understand that, however, that the letter kills if you don't understand the spiritual context or the deeper spiritual matters, and likewise operate in the deeper spiritual context of Pasakh. We understand that if we don't operate this way, that the letter will indeed kill us. But we, however, must still observe the letter. We must still observe the letter. And in observing the letter, we're going to look at the letter just a little bit tonight, just briefly. Just briefly, we're just going to touch it, because by now in the first 3 videos, we understand the Ruach. We should have a deeper understanding and a clearer understanding of the spirit of the matter, of the Ruach of keeping the Pasakh feast. And so we're just going to briefly look at the letter, and we're not going to look at it very long. We're not going to look at it very long. And so if you have your scriptures, once more, turn to Shamut or Exodus chapter 12, but we're only going to read verses 1 through 14. Shamut, Exodus chapter 12, and we're only going to read verses 1 through 14. Barak Yahuwah. This is the second book of Masha, the second book of Moses, which follows Genesis, which follows Barashit. The 12th chapter of Exodus, Shamut, and we're going to read verses 1 through 14. 1 through 14. Beginning at verse 1, we read here.
And Yahuwah spoke to Moshe and to Aharon in the land of Mitzrayim, saying, this new month is the beginning of new months for you.
This new month is tomorrow. This begins tomorrow. This is the new year, which we're going to embark upon tomorrow. And I'm sorry, just a minute. For those of you, some have asked me, when is Pasakh, and that is April 1st. Pasakh this year will occur on April 1st at sunset. And the first day of unleavened bread is April 2nd. The last day of unleavened bread is April the 8th. April the 8th. Go ahead, little one.
It is the first new month of the year for you. Speak to all the congregation of YAHUAH'S, saying, on the 10th day of this new month, each one of them is to take for himself a lamb, according to the house of his father, a lamb for a household. And if that household is too small for the lamb, let him and his neighbor next to his house take it according to the number of beans.
So on the 10th day of the month, each house is to choose a lamb. We understand, those of us who are of the regeneration, we understand that this is a shadow of the lamb that was slain before the foundation of the earth. But does it end there? No, it doesn't end there, and we're going to talk a little bit about that as well. Barak Yahuwah. And so we understand that in the letter, it calls for a lamb, but there's already been a lamb slain for us. And so now, in keeping the letter, there is no more need to slaughter a lamb. There is no more need to slaughter any animals. Yahusha fulfilled all of the animal offerings. There is no more need for that. He is our Pasakh lamb. He is our Pasakh lamb. And indeed, this is still a part of keeping the letter. There is a lamb required, but there is a lamb that has already been slain for us. Come on, read, little one.
According to each man's need, you make your count for the lamb. Let the lamb be a perfect one, a year old. Take it from the sheep or from the goats, and you shall keep it until the 14th day of the new month. Then all the assembly of the congregation of Yasharal shall slay it between the evenings, and they shall take some of the blood and put it on the 2 doorposts and on the lintel of the houses where they eat it. And they shall eat the flesh on that night, roasted in fire with unleavened bread and with bitter herbs they shall eat it. Do not eat it raw, nor boiled at all with water.
So on that night, on the Passover night, you are to eat your meal, whether it is roasted lamb or whether it is roasted goat or whether it is a roast. You are to eat that meal with bitter herbs. This is the letter, and we're still to observe the letter. We are to eat it with bitter herbs. We in the past have, what have we used? Horseradish. We've used horseradish. As long as it is a bitter herb, something that's bitter, so as to what? So as to remind us of the bitter bondage, of the bitter slavery that Yahuwah has delivered us from. And so the meal must be eaten with bitter herbs. This is the letter. Read on, little one.
But roasted in fire, its head with its legs and its inward parts, and do not leave of it until morning. And what remains of it until morning you are to burn with fire. And this is how you eat it. Your loins girded, your sandals on your feet, your staff in hand, and you shall eat it in haste. It is the Pasakh of Yahuwah. And I shall pass through the land of Mitzrayim on that night, and I shall strike all the firstborn in the land of Mitzrayim, both man and beast. And on the mighty ones of Mitzrayim I shall execute judgment. I am Yahuwah, and the blood shall be a sign for you on the houses where you are. And when I see the blood, I shall pass over you, and let the plague not come on you to destroy you when I strike the land of Mitzrayim. And this day shall become to you a remembrance, and you shall celebrate Kagag.
And you shall celebrate
Kagag. It as a festival to Yahuwah throughout your generations. Celebrate it as a festival, an everlasting law.
An everlasting law. You shall celebrate it. Celebrate it. And this is the Hebrew Kagag. Is that right?
Yes.
Kagag. This is the Hebrew Kagag. This is the word for celebrate. And we're going to look at this more closely. Now, we only read verses down through verse 14, and we're not going to read any further. But we also understand in celebrating Pasakh that we are to eat unleavened bread with that meal. We are to eat unleavened bread with that meal to remind us of what? That no one unclean, because unleavened represents light. It represents righteousness. It represents cleanness. It is to remind us that no one unclean is to partake of the lamb, is to partake of this offering. It is also a reminder. It is also a reminder of Yahusha, the bread, the living bread, the bread from Shamayim, the Lakam Shamayim. It is a reminder that he is the lamb that we are partaking of, that he is the lamb. But it is also to remind us that no one unclean is to partake of the Pasakh. The next day, at sunrise, on the 15th day, begins the Feast of Unleavened Bread. 7 days we are to partake of unleavened. This is the letter. We are to partake of unleavened bread, matzah. We are to partake of this for 7 days. I'm not going to go into what it means. This was in the previous teaching. But according to the letter, we are to partake of unleavened bread for 7 days as we celebrate the Feast of Unleavened Bread. As we eat our meals, each meal that you partake of throughout the Feast of Unleavened Bread, you are to eat unleavened bread with that meal. You are to partake of it with that meal. This is the letter. This is the basics of the letter. This is the requirements. These are the requirements of the letter. Now we're not going to stop here. We're going to look more closely at what it means to celebrate it. But we're simply looking at the letter. What does it mean to celebrate the letter? What is required? Yes, we eat unleavened bread for 7 days with each meal. And on the first day of unleavened bread, all leaven must leave our homes, must leave our houses. Anything with leaven in it, it must cease from our houses. If the leaven does not cease from our houses from the first day of the Feast of Unleavened Bread, the text declares that this being shall be cut off from his people. Now we understand the deeper context and the spiritual context of this, but we still must obey and observe the letter, because we must obey every word that proceeds from the mouth of Yahuwah. And so on the first day, from the very first day, all leaven must leave our houses. All leaven, all things, all baked goods. Let's narrow this down. All baked goods that contain leaven must leave the house. You know, there is no shortage of Pharisees that come out this time of year talking about moving vinegar from the house, and talking about removing spray starch from the house, and talking about removing different things out of the house, not understanding that there is even leaven in the air, and so that it is impossible for you to remove all the leaven from your house, which is symbolic, which should be showing you that you cannot remove the leaven from your heart. Only Yahuwah can do this. But those Pharisees that come out this time of year talking about, what has leaven and what you need to remove, the majority of them, if not all of them, have an overabundance of leaven in their heart, which is what Yahuwah is trying to teach us. Is trying to teach us through the letter of this instruction. And the letter again, the letter of Torah let's go back. Torah is comprised of what? Of practical instructions which teach us about deeper spiritual matters. And it is this what Yahuwah is concerned about. It is that inner cup. It is that inner man. It is the inner heart that Yahuwah is truly concerned about. This is what he's concerned about. There are many who are keeping the letter, who are talking about remove the vinegar from your house, who are going to go to that dark place with a bottle of vinegar in their hands. Remove the baked goods from your house that contain leaven. And as you're removing the baked goods from your house that contain leaven, focus on the inner man, on the inner heart, allowing Yahuwah to remove that inner leaven from the heart. I'm not going to talk much more about that because that was in the last teaching. But however, in obeying the letter, we must remove that leaven from our houses from the start of the very first day of the Feast of Unleavened Bread, and we must eat unleavened bread throughout the feast with our meals. We must eat unleavened bread throughout the feast with our meals. So to recap, on that night, on the 14th night at evening, we are to eat our Pasakh meal, whether or not that is a lamb, whether or not that is a goat, whether or not that is roast. We are to eat that meal with bitter herb to remind us of the bitter bondage that Yahuwah has delivered us from. We are to eat that meal with unleavened bread. We are to eat that meal with unleavened bread. If you're me, I'm going to have my staff nearby. Barak Yahuwah. I'm going to have my staff nearby because I don't know about you, but I am ready to go. I am ready to leave this place. And so I will have my staff nearby. Barak Yahuwah. Barak Yahuwah. I will have mine. Barak Yahuwah. Barak Yahuwah. On the 15th day, we are to cause the leaven to cease from our homes. Barak Yahuwah. And we are to eat unleavened bread for 7 days. For 7 days. This is the letter. I'm not going to speak any more about the letter because this thing is deeper than just observing the letter. If you want to just observe the letter, I think the Jewish people are starting on the 8th of April. And I think they're going down through the 18th or something like that. I don't know. But if you're looking for just the letter, you can go with them. But if you're looking for the Spirit, if you're looking for the Ruach, this is what Abba wants to teach us, or wants to speak to us about tonight, and with respect to how do we celebrate Pasakh. How do we celebrate Pasakh? So let's just look at this now. Let's just look at this. The operative word here is celebrate. This is the operative word, celebrate. Celebrate. It is the Hebrew word kagag. Kagag. And what does kagag mean, little one?
A primitive root properly to move in a circle, that is specifically to march in a sacred procession.
To march in a sacred procession. This is folks celebrating. Come on, read, little one.
To observe a festival. By implication, to be giddy.
To be giddy, to be glad, to be happy. Come on, read.
Celebrate.
Celebrate.
Dance.
Dance. Here we are. Dance. Come on. We coming to celebrate. We coming to dance out of our clothes like Dawood. We already know, Mashpaka, why we celebrating it. And that should give you cause to come there and celebrate like you've lost your proverbial mind. You know that the dam, that the dam of the Hamashiach has been shed for us, and that has drawn us out of darkness into his marvelous light. And we ought to come with a celebration on our heart, dancing like Dawood, out of our clothes, celebrating like we've lost our proverbial minds. We already know from especially from the last teaching, why we're celebrating. Why we're celebrating and what we are celebrating. And so the question has been removed as to why we're celebrating it and what we're celebrating it. And so the only thing that remains is to come with a heart of praise, and to come with our best praise, and to dance like Dawood danced, and to dance out of our clothes, and to celebrate like we've lost our proverbial minds. Barak Yahuwah. Barak Yahuwah. Barak Yahuwah. This is the true essence of Pasakh. To celebrate. To celebrate. We already know what we're celebrating. We know what we're celebrating. This is the essence of Pasakh. To celebrate. Come on, give us another precept, little one.
Leviticus 23, 4 through 8.
Leviticus 23, verses 4 through 8. Wikra 23, verses 4 through 8. Leviticus 23, verses 4 through 8. We're going to look a little closer at this celebration. Leviticus 23, verses 4 through 8. Come on, read, Lord.
These are the appointed times of Yahuwah.
Yes.
Kadush gatherings which you are to proclaim at their appointed time.
Barak Yahuwah, stop right there. I neglected to say in the Feast of Unleavened Bread that the first day of Unleavened Bread is a Shabbat. It is a Kadush gathering. And the last day of Unleavened Bread is also a Shabbat day, a Kadush gathering. These Shabbat days are treated just like the weekly Shabbat. They're treated just like those days. Forgive me, I neglected to add that. But Barak Yahuwah, now it's added. Go ahead, little one.
In the first new month, on the 14th day of the new month, between the evenings, is the Pasakh to Yahuwah. And on the 15th day of this new month, is the festival of Matzah to Yahuwah. 7 days you eat unleavened bread.
Yes.
On the first day you have a Kadush gathering.
Yes.
You do no servile work. And you shall bring an offering made by fire.
Listen, you shall bring an offering made by fire. Make a note of that. You shall bring an offering made by fire. Come on.
To Yahuwah.
To Yahuwah.
For 7 days.
For 7 days you are to bring an offering made by fire to Yahuwah. We are to bring an offering made by fire to Yahuwah. This says nothing about coming there expecting something. This says to bring an offering to Yahuwah for 7 days. An offering made by fire for 7 days. This is what we are to bring him. An offering. Not coming expecting anything, but to bring him his offerings. Come on, read, little one.
And on the 7th day is a Kadush gathering. You do no servile work.
Barak Yahuwah. Barak Yahuwah. Barak Yahuwah. Come on, I feel a fire burning. Give us another precept, little one.
Numbers 28, 1 through 10.
Numbers 28. Bamatba 28. Numbers 28. Verses 1 through 10. Numbers 28. Bamatba. Numbers 28. Verses 1 through 10. Numbers, Bamaba, chapter 28, verses 1 through 10. Beginning at verse 1. Read, little one.
And Yahuwah spoke to Moshe, saying,
Uh-huh.
Command the children of Yasharal, and you shall say to them, Take heed to bring my offering, my food for my offering.
Take heed to bring my offerings. My food for my offerings? Read.
Made by fire as a sweet fragrance to me.
Uh-huh.
At their appointed time.
At their appointed time. Pasakh is an appointed time. Read.
And you shall say to them,
Uh-huh.
This is the offering made by fire.
Yes.
Which you bring to Yahuwah.
Uh-huh.
2 male lambs a year old.
Uh-huh.
Perfect ones.
Yes.
Daily.
Daily.
A continual ascending offering.
How long is continual, little one?
Continual.
Without end.
Everlasting.
Barak Yahuwah. Come on, read.
The one lamb you prepare in the morning, and the other lamb you prepare between the evenings, with 1/10 of an alpha of fine flour as a grain offering mixed with 1/4 of a hin of pressed oil, a continual ascending offering, which was offered at Mount Sinai for a sweet fragrance. An offering made by fire to Yahuwah. It is a drink offering, 1/4 of a hin for each lamb. Pour out the drink to Yahuwah as an offering in the Kadush place. And the other lamb you prepare between the evenings as the morning grain offering and its drink offering. You prepare it as an offering made by fire, a sweet fragrance to Yahuwah. And on the Shabbat day, 2 lambs a year old.
So initially here in Bamaba, the 28th chapter, there are Yahuwah speaks through Moshe and says, speak to the children of Yasharal, and you tell them that at the appointed time that you are to make sure that you bring me my food, that you bring me my offerings at the appointed time, without delay, continually. You bring me my food. In the morning, you bring me one male lamb, perfect, blemishless. You bring me my food. And in the evening, you bring me another male lamb, blemishless, perfect. You bring me my food, and you bring this offering continually without stopping, without ceasing. You are to bring me my offerings. And this command has not ceased. This command is still in effect because his Torah is eternal. His Torah is eternal. So these commands are still in effect. Come on, read, little one.
Perfect ones. And 2/10 of an ephah of fine flour as a grain offering.
Barak Yahuwah. So now here on the Shabbat day, you are to bring 2 more lambs. In addition to the lamb in the morning and the lamb in the evening, and on the Shabbat day, you are to bring additional lambs, additional offerings, perfect ones. Bring him his food at the appointed time. Come on, read.
Mixed with oil, with this drink offering, the ascending offering for every Shabbat, besides the continual ascending offering.
Besides the continual ascending offering. So on the Shabbat day, now we have to bring him extra offerings. On the Shabbat day, in addition to the continual offering, 1 in the morning, 1 in the evening, we are to bring him extra offerings on the Shabbat day. Extra ones. We are to bring him his extra offerings. We're to bring him his food at the appointed time. Come on, read, little one.
With this drink offering. And we got Numbers 28:16 to 26.
Please mute your mics, Ms. Parker. Please mute your mics. Mute your mics. What's the next one, little one?
Numbers 28:16 to 26, that second part.
Numbers 28, same chapter. Same chapter, Numbers 28, now verses 16 through 26. Numbers 28, by Mountbar, the same chapter, 28, now verses 16 through 26. Begin at verse 16, little one.
And in the first new month, on the 14th day.
And in the first new month, on the 14th day, read.
Is the Pasakh of Yahuwah.
Is the Pasakh of Yahuwah.
And on the 15th day of this new month.
And on the 15th day of this new month.
Is the festival.
Is the festival.
For 7 days unleavened bread is eaten.
For 7 days unleavened bread is eaten.
On the first day is a Kadush gathering.
On the first day is a Kadush gathering.
You do no servile work.
You do no servile work.
And you shall bring near an offering made by fire.
Listen, and you shall bring near an offering made by fire.
As an ascending offering to Yahuwah.
As an ascending offering unto Yahuwah.
2 young bulls.
Listen, 2 young bulls.
and 1 ram,
and
7 lambs a year old,
7 lambs a year old.
perfect ones. They are for you. And their grain offering. Fine flour mixed with oil. Prepare 3/10 of an ephah for a bull.
Prepare 3/10 of an ephah for a bull.
And 2/10 for a ram.
And 2/10 for a ram.
Prepare 1/10 of an ephah for each of the 7 lambs.
Prepare 1/10 of an ephah for each of the 7 lambs.
And 1 goat as a sin offering.
And 1 goat as a crime or a sin offering.
To make atonement for you. Prepare these beside the ascending offering of the morning.
Listen, prepare these besides the ascending offering of the morning and evening. So here now, on Pasakh and on unleavened bread, you got to bring extra. You got to bring extra offerings. You bring extra. So these now are besides the continual offering of the morning and evening. Come on, read, little one.
Which is for a continual ascending offering. According to these, you are to prepare the food of the offering made by fire daily.
Yes.
For 7 days. As a sweet fragrance to Yahuwah.
Unto Yahuwah.
It is prepared beside the continual ascending offering and its drink offering. And on the 7th day, you have a Kadush gathering. You do no servile work. And on the day of first fruits, when you bring a new grain offering to Yahuwah at the festival of Shabbat, you have a Kadush gathering. You do no servile work.
Barak Yahuwah. And so it is established in the book of Bamidbar that we are to bring him his food, his offerings, an offering made by fire at the appointed time. Yahuwah establishes that we are to bring him continual offerings, a lamb in the morning and a lamb in the evening. And on the Shabbat day, we're to bring extra. There's an extra 2 lambs that are required besides the continual offerings that have been established. Then on Pasakh, on the Pasakh, there is an offering made by fire required besides the continual offerings of that day. And on the first day of unleavened bread and throughout the feast of unleavened bread, besides the continual offering, the 1 lamb in the morning and the 1 lamb in the evening, there are extra offerings that are required. We are to bring him his food without cease. He requires his food. He requires offerings made by fire with no excuses. Without excuses, we are to bring him his food. We are to bring him his food. Come on, little one. Now, those here who are on Zoom, they no doubt already understand and know where we're going with this. But for some of those who are listening via YouTube, they don't quite understand where this is going yet. And there may be some here on Zoom who are new, who don't quite understand where this is going yet. So what do we have next, little one? Give us another precept. Barak Yahuwah. Barak Yahuwah. Barak Yahuwah. Now, for those who are on Zoom and for some of those who may be on YouTube, you understand already that Yahuwah does not desire animal offerings or animal sacrifices anymore. That has been satisfied by the shed dam of Yahusha. All of them have been satisfied by the shed dam of Yahusha. He does not desire the blood of bulls and goats, but what he does desire is what? Is the bulls of our lips. He desires and demands the bulls of our lips. He demands slaughter offerings of praise. And this is to continue continually. This is to go on continually. All of these offerings are what? Are a representation of you and I. Indeed, they are a shadow of the HaMashiach. But the HaMashiach came as in replacement of you and I. And so these offerings are a representation of us. There has been now an offering that has satisfied the physical offering of animals. But yet these offerings must continue. We must continue to bring him his offerings at the appointed time. We don't slaughter animals, but we are to bring him slaughter offerings of praise. We are to bring him the bulls of our lips. And doing Pasakh and doing the feast of unleavened bread, we are to bring him extra praise. We are to bring him extra offerings. We are to praise him like we've lost our proverbial minds, because we who are not of the letter, we understand what is at stake. We understand what Pasakh means. We understand what he has done by delivering us from the reign of darkness and bringing us into his marvelous light. But little one, for those who don't understand this, let's give them some precepts so that they understand that he does not desire the blood of bulls or goats anymore, but he does desire the bulls of your lips, the slaughter offerings of thanksgiving that come from our lips. Come on, little one, read.
We got Psalms 34:1.
Psalms 34:1. Tahalim 34:1. Psalms, the 34th chapter and the first verse. Come on, read, little one.
I bless Yahuwah at all times.
I, Baruch, I bless Yahuwah at all times.
His praise is continually in my mouth.
His praise is continually in my mouth. I told you that the continual offerings have not ceased. They still go on. But he desires the bulls of our lips continually. Continually. And so we are now to what? To come to Pasakh, bringing our best praise, not expecting anything, because he's already gave everything. We are to bring our best praise and dance and shout and celebrate like we've lost our proverbial minds. Come on, little one, give us another precept.
We got Psalms 50:14.
Psalms 54 what?
50:14.
Psalms chapter 50, verse 14.
Yes.
Psalms chapter 50, verse 14. We're going to move a little quickly, Mashpak, and so if you want to just write these down, or if you move fast enough, you can keep up. But here we're at Tahalim, Psalms chapter 50, verse 14. Come on, read verse 14, little one.
Slaughter thanksgiving to Elohim.
Slaughter what?
Slaughter thanksgiving to Elohim.
Slaughter what?
Slaughter thanksgiving to Elohim.
Slaughter thanksgiving to Elohim.
And pay your vows to Yahuwah al-Yum.
And pay your vows to Yahuwah al-Yum. He wants the slaughter offerings of praise. He wants slaughter offerings of thanksgiving. He does not want the blood of bulls and goats, which were a mere shadow of the Hamashiach, who came as a representation and in place of us. We are these offerings. We are these offerings. And we are to now continually give him the bulls of our lips. Come on, read, little one.
Psalms 55:16-17.
Psalms 55, verses
16-17.
16-17. Psalms 55, verses 16 through 17, beginning at verse 16. Come on, read, little one.
I call upon Elohim, and Yahuwah saves me. Evening and morning and at noon, I complain and moan, and he hears my voice.
Evening and morning and at noon. This is a shadow of how we are to what? How we are to bring him his offerings. Morning, afternoon, and evening, we are to bring him his offerings. In addition to the extra offerings that are required on Pasakh, and the extra offerings that are required for 7 days during the feast of unleavened bread. Oh, we got to praise him like we've lost our proverbial minds. And we understand now why we are praising him. Come on, read, little one.
That's Psalms 119:108.
Psalms 119:108. Psalms 119:108. Psalms 119:108. Come on, read, little one.
Please accept the voluntary offerings of my mouth.
Please accept the voluntary offerings of my mouth. Come on.
O Yahuwah.
O Yahuwah.
And teach me your right rulings.
And teach me your right rulings. Barak Yahuwah. Barak Yahuwah. We are the offerings. And he wants the praises of our mouths. He wants the bulls of our lips. He wants us to praise him like we've lost our minds, like all of our righteous fathers did, and like Dawood did when he danced out of his clothes. Come on, little one, read.
Psalms 40:1-8.
Psalms 40. Tahalim 40. Psalms 40, verses 1-8. Psalms 40. Psalms 40. Verses 1-8. We're not worried about anything else. We're not worried about what's going on around us. We're not worried about what the heathen do. We're not worried about their fears. We're not worried about their concerns. We're not worried about their troubles. We're coming to Pasakh to praise Yahuwah like we've lost our proverbial minds, because we are not reserved for wrath. We are children of light, having been delivered from the reign of darkness into his marvelous light. And so these things that are occurring around us have nothing to do with us. We're coming to praise him like we've lost our proverbial minds. Come on, read, little one.
I waited waited for Yahuwah.
Uh-huh.
And he inclined to me and heard my cry.
Yes.
And he drew me out of the pit of destruction.
Yes.
Out of the muddy clay.
Mm-hmm.
And he set my feet upon a rock.
Yes.
He is establishing my steps.
Uh-huh.
Then he put a new song in my mouth.
Yes.
Praise to our Elohim.
Uh-huh.
Many do see it and revere.
Uh-huh.
And trust in Yahuwah.
Yes.
Blessed is the man who has made Yahuwah his trust.
Blessed is the man who has made Yahuwah his trust. We ain't worried about what the heathen are worried about. Blessed is the man who has made Yahuwah his trust. We coming to praise him like we've lost our minds. Come on, read, little one.
And has not turned to the proud.
Uh-huh.
And those turning aside to falsehood.
Yes.
Oh, Yahuwah my Elohim.
Mm-hmm.
Many are the wonders which you have done.
Yes.
And your purposes toward us.
Yes.
There is no one to compare with you.
Mm-hmm.
I declare and speak. There are too many to be numbered.
Mm-hmm.
Slaughtering and meal offerings you did not desire.
Slaughtering and meal offerings you did not desire. Come on.
You have opened my ears.
You have opened my ears.
Ascending offering and crime offering you did not ask for.
Ascending offerings and crime offerings you did not ask for. Come on.
Then I said, see, I have come in the scroll of the book.
See, I come in the scroll in the volume of the book. Come on.
It is prescribed for me.
It is prescribed for me.
I have delighted to do your pleasure, O my Elohim.
I have delighted to do your pleasure, my Elohim.
And your Torah is within my heart.
And your Torah is within my heart. He don't want the ascending offerings. He don't want the blood of bulls and goats. He wants the praises of your lips. He wants us to praise him like we've lost our proverbial minds. During the feast of Pasakh and during the 7 days of unleavened bread, we are to bring him his extra offerings in addition to the continual offerings. And we are to praise him and dance and celebrate like we've lost our proverbial minds. Come on, read, little one.
Hosea 14:1-2.
Who shall, Hosea verses 14, chapter 14 verses 1 and 2. Who shall, commonly called Hosea chapter 14 verses 1 through 2. Beginning at verse 1. Come on, read, little one.
O Yasharal, return to Yahuwah your Elohim.
Uh-huh.
For you have stumbled by your crookedness.
Uh-huh.
Take words with you and return to Yahuwah.
Uh-huh.
Say to him, take away all crookedness.
Yes.
And accept what is good.
Uh-huh.
And we render the bulls of our lips.
And we render the bulls of our lips. This is the mindset that we got to have coming to Pasakh, not expecting nothing. It says nothing in the text about expecting anything. It says in the text that we are to bring him his offerings. We are his offerings. We are to come there bringing our best praise. Praising him like we've lost our proverbial minds because we understand that this is a muadah. And we understand that soon he is coming to gather his children from the four corners of the earth. He's coming to get his children soon. He says, behold, I come quickly. Hold what you got, lest you lose your crown. He's coming to gather his children quickly. And with this understanding, irrespective of what's going on in the world, we're coming there to praise him like we've lost our proverbial minds. Come on, read, little one.
Jonah 2:1-10.
Jonah chapter 2. Jonah chapter 2. Barak Yahuwah. Verses 1-10. Jonah chapter 2 verses 1-10. Come on, read, little one, beginning at verse 1.
And Yunah prayed to Yahuwah, his Elohim, from the stomach of the fish.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, I called to Yahuwah
Mm-hmm.
because of my distress, and he answered me.
Mm-hmm.
From the stomach of Shaul I cried,
Mm-hmm.
and you heard my voice.
Mm-hmm.
For you threw me into the deep,
Mm-hmm.
into the heart of the seas,
Mm-hmm.
and the flood surrounded me.
Mm-hmm.
All your breakers and your waves passed over me.
Mm-hmm.
So I said, I have been driven away from your eyes.
Mm-hmm.
Would I ever look again towards your Kadush Haiko?
Mm-hmm.
Waters encompass me unto life. The deep closed around me.
Mm-hmm.
Weeds were wrapped around my head.
Mm-hmm.
I went down to the base of the mountains. The earth with its bars were behind me forever.
Mm-hmm.
But you brought my life from the pit. Oh, Yahuwah, my Elohim. When my life fainted within me, I remembered Yahuwah.
Mm-hmm.
And my prayer went up to you in your Kadush Haiko.
Mm-hmm.
Those observing false worthlessness forsake their own loving commitment.
Uh-huh.
But I slaughter you with the voice of thanksgiving.
I slaughter you with a voice of thanksgiving. Oh, from the belly of the beast, he slaughtered a slaughter offering of thanksgiving unto Yahuwah. Barak Yahuwah. In the belly of the beast, in the belly of a fish, he slaughtered slaughter offerings unto Yahuwah. And what happened, little one?
I paid what I vowed.
I paid what I vowed.
Deliverance is of Yahuwah.
Deliverance is of Yahuwah.
Then Yahuwah spoke to the fish, and it vomited Yunah onto the dry ground.
Then Yahuwah spoke to the fish, and it vomited vomited Yunah onto dry ground. When he gave him his food at the appointed time, when he gave him his offerings, when he gave him the voluntary slaughter offering of his lips, he was delivered. Oh, there is deliverance, little one, in praise. There is deliverance in praise, little one. We are to come there with our best offering, not expecting anything, but just giving him the voluntary offerings of our lips, because he's already done enough. He's already done enough. He's already delivered us from the reign of darkness into his marvelous light, provided that you have his ruach. Provided that you have his ruach. He's already delivered us from the reign of darkness into his marvelous light. Come on, read, little one.
Hebrews 13, 10 through 16.
Hebrews, Arba'im, chapter 13, verses what?
10 through 16.
Verses 10 through 16. Hebrews, Arba'im, chapter 13, verses 10 through 16. Beginning at verse 10. Read, little one.
We have a slaughter place from which those serving the tent have no authority to eat.
Yes.
For the bodies of those beasts whose blood is brought into the Kadush place by the high priest for crime are burned outside the camp. And so Yahusha also suffered outside the gate. He was
the shadow and the fulfillment of those animal offerings. He don't want that. Come on, read.
To Kadush the people with his own blood. Let us then go to him outside the camp, bearing his reproach. For we have no lasting city here, but we seek the one coming. Through him then let us continually. Read. Offer up a slaughtering offering of praise.
Offer up a slaughter offering of praise. Let us continually offer up a slaughter offering of praise. He don't want bulls and goats. He wants the continual slaughter offering of praise from our lips. And as it applies to Pasakh and the feast of unleavened bread, we've got to bring him extra praise. We got to praise him like we've lost our proverbial minds. And we who are of the regeneration, who have had Pasakh explained to them, we know what it means now. We know that he has given up all for us, and we are to give up all for him. You ought to leave that. You ought to leave your voice wherever you are. You ought to leave your voice there, giving up all, leaving it all on the proverbial field, as they say. Leave your voice there, giving up all the praise to him, because he's given up all for us. Come on, read, little one.
Praise to Elohim, that is the fruit of our lips, giving thanks to his name. And do not forget to do good and to share, for with such slaughter offerings Elohim is well pleased.
Barak Yahuwah, Barak Yahuwah, Barak Yahuwah. We are to bring him extra slaughter offerings for Pasakh and the feast of unleavened bread. We are to dance. We are to celebrate. We are to praise him like we've lost our proverbial minds. Come on, read, little one.
1 Thessalonians 5, 16 to 18.
1 Thessalonians chapter 5, verses
16 through 18.
16 through 18. 1 Thessalonians chapter 5, verses 16 through 18. Beginning at verse 16. Read, little one.
Rejoice always.
Rejoice always.
Pray without ceasing.
Pray without ceasing.
In all circumstances.
In all circumstances.
Give thanks.
Give thanks.
For this is the desire of Elohim.
For this is the desire of Elohim.
And Mashiach Yahusha.
And Mashiach Yahusha.
For you.
For you. Barak Yahuwah. Rejoice always. Always bring him the continual offering, slaughter offering of our lips. Come on, read, little one.
Jubilees 17, 14.
Now we're going to move to the book of Jubilees. Barak Yahuwah. Barak Yahuwah. Barak Yahuwah. Just write these down. Just write these down, because I don't want to hold you too long. Just write these down, because this teaching, this message, this proclamation does not have to be too long. Jubilees now, the 17th chapter.
14 to 17.
Verses 14 through 17. Jubilees, the 17th chapter, verses 14 through 17. Beginning at verse 14. Read, little one.
And it came to pass in the 7th week in the first year thereof.
Listen very carefully. And it came to pass in the 7th week in what?
In the first year thereof.
In the first year thereof.
In the first month in this Jubilee.
Listen, in the first month. Pasakh is always in the first month. In the first month.
In this Jubilee.
In this Jubilee.
On the 12th of this month.
On the 12th of this month. So now we're reading here. This is 2 days out from Pasakh. This is the first month and the 12th day. We're 2 days out here from Pasakh. Come on, read, little one.
There were voices in heaven regarding Abraham, that he was faithful in all that he told him, and that he loved Yahuwah, and that in every affliction he was faithful. And the prince Mastema came and said before Elohim, Behold, Abraham loves Ishkak his son, and he delights in him above all things else. Bid him to offer him as a burnt offering on the altar, and you will see if he will do this command. And you will know if he is faithful in everything wherein you do try him. And Yahuwah knew that Abraham was faithful in all his afflictions, for he tried him through his country and with famine, and he tried him with the wealth of kings, and he tried him again through his woman when she was torn from him, and with circumcision. And he tried him through Ishmael and Hagar, his maidservant, when he sent them away. And in everything wherein he tried him, he was found faithful, and his soul was not impatient, and he was not slow to act, for he was faithful and a lover of Yahuwah.
Barak Yahuwah, Barak Yahuwah. And all this occurred in the first month and the 12th day with respect to its cock. The first month and the 12th day. Now moving to Jubilees chapter 18.
1 through 16.
Verses 1 through 16. Jubilees chapter 18. Verses 1 through 16. Jubilees chapter 18. Verses 1 through 16. Come on, read, little one.
And Elohim said to him, Abraham.
Yes.
And he said, Behold, here I am. And he said, Take your Yakid whom you love.
Take your Yakid, your beloved, your only begotten, whom you love. Come on.
Even Ishkak, and go unto the high country and offer him on one of the mountains which I will point out unto you. And he rose early in the morning and saddled his ass and took his 2 young men with him, and Ishkak his son, and clave the wood of the burnt offering. And he went to the place on the 3rd day, and he saw the place afar off. And he came to a well of water, and he said to his young men, Abide ye here with the ass, and I and the lad shall go yonder. And when we have worshipped, we shall come again to you. And he took the wood of the burnt offering and laid it on Ishkak his son. And he took in his hand the fire and the knife. And they went both of them together to that place. And Ishkak said to his father, Father. And he said, Behold. He said, Here I am, son. And he said unto him, Behold, the fire and the knife and the wood. But where's the sheep for the burnt offering, father? And he said, Elohim will provide himself a sheep for a burnt offering, my son. And he drew near to the place of the mount of Elohim, and he built an altar. And he placed the wood on the altar, and bound Ishkak his son, and placed him on the wood which was upon the altar, and stretched forth his hand to take the knife to slay Ishkak his son. And I stood before him and before the prince Mastema. And Yahuwah said, Bid him not to lay his hand on the lad, nor to do anything to him. For I have shown that he fears Yahuwah. And I called to him from heaven and said unto him, Abraham, Abraham. And he was terrified and said, Behold, here I am. And I said unto him, Lay not your hand upon the lad, neither do you anything to him. For now I have shown that you revere Yahuwah, and have not withheld your son, your firstborn son, from me. And the prince Mastema was put to shame. And Abraham lifted up his eyes and looked, and behold, a ram caught by his horns. And Abraham went and took the ram and offered it for a burnt offering in the stead of his son. Barak
Yahuwah, right there, stop right there. Ishkak was going to be offered on Passover, the 12th day, the 13th day, and the 14th day. He was 3 days. He was going to be offered as the Pasakh lamb, because we are, if you understand, we are the Pasakh lamb, because we are the offerings. Yahusha came in our place. He came in our place. He came in the place of Adam. He came in the place of the firstborn son, Adam, because Adam disobeyed the command. And in the day that you partake of this fruit is the day that you will die. And so there was a judgment pronounced, and that judgment was death. that judgment was pronounced over firstborn sons. It was pronounced over them. And so this Passover lamb is a representation of us. We are the Passover lamb, but he came in replacement of us and died as the lamb in our place. But here's what Abba wants us to understand. Ishkak was firstborn according to the Ruach. Yes, he was. Yes, he was. Ishmael was firstborn according to the flesh. Listen here, the lamb slain before the foundation of the earth is not for the firstborn according to the flesh. It is for the firstborn according to the Ruach. Adam was not born according to the flesh. He was born of water and of Ruach. Yes, he was. Yes, he was. And so this lamb is not for the flesh. It's not for the firstborn according to the flesh. That's why your circumcision according to the flesh, man, if you are a man boasting in your flesh, it means nothing. The flesh profits nothing. He desires the circumcision of the heart, which you have if you are firstborn according to the Ruach. This lamb is not for the firstborn according to the flesh. And so, like Ishkak, who was born of the free woman, who was firstborn according to the Ruach, this lamb is for us. This lamb is for us. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. We are the Passover. We are the Passover lamb. Yahusha took our place. He took our place. And so understanding that we are that offering. We are the Passover offering. You got to bring in the bulls of your lips like you've lost your proverbial mind. Like you've lost your proverbial mind. We are that offering. He just simply took our place. Yes, he did. Yes, he did. And this is the meaning, the symbology of this lamb that was caught in the bush. Come on, read, little one.
And Abraham called that place Yahuwah Yarah, so that it is said Yahuwah has seen. That is Mount Zion. And Yahuwah called Abraham by his name a second time from heaven, as he caused us to appear to speak to him in the name of Yahuwah. And he said, by myself have I sworn, says Yahuwah, because you have done this thing and have not withheld your son, your Yakid, from me, that in blessing I will bless you, and in multiplying I will multiply your seed as the stars of the heaven, and as the sand which is on the seashore. And your seed shall inherit the cities of his enemies, and in your seed shall all nations of the earth be blessed. Because you have obeyed my voice, I have shown to you all that you are faithful unto me, and all that I have said unto you. Go in shalom.
Barak Yahuwah. Barak Yahuwah. We are the offering, our family. We are the offering, Mashpaka. He don't want our blood. Blood has already been shed. But we must die. We must die and be reborn of Ruach. We must, in the immersion, be immersed in the name of Yahushua HaMashiach, whereby being impaled with him, whereby being buried with him, and whereby being reborn to the newness of life. A water immersion and a water rebirth, being reborn, not of flesh and of blood, but of water and of Ruach. And if we are indeed born of water and of Ruach, then this lamb, it was slain for us. It was slain for us. It is not for those who are of the flesh, because those who are of the flesh still belong to the wicked one. They still belong to Hashatan. And thus the firstborn of the flesh, the firstborn of Egypt, they died. They perished. But the firstborn, Yahakub, according to the Ruach, the lamb that was slain before the foundation of the earth, Yahakub, being a representation of the remnant of mankind, this lamb is for us. This lamb is for us. And so now there's already been an offering, but we are that offering because this offering took our place. And so now we are to bring him the bulls of our lips, slaughter offering of praise, like we've lost our proverbial minds. And we are indeed seed of Ishkak, who is the son of promise, whom this lamb was reserved for. We are seed of Ishkak, if indeed, like Ishkak, we have been born of the free woman and born of the Jerusalem above and not of the Jerusalem below. And like Ishkak, we are that one laying on that altar. And in the one he stops and says, no, don't slaughter him. Loose him. Loose him. Slaughter that lamb. I'm coming down. I'm going to put on flesh. I'm going to die for my son. I'm going to deliver him from the reign of darkness and bring him into my marvelous light. Oh, you better come bearing your best praise. Come on, little one. Galatians 4. We're going to round this out. Galatians 4,
21.
verses 21 through 31. Galatians 4, verses 21 through 31. Galatians 4, verses 21 through 31. Beginning at verse 21. Come on.
Say to me, you who wish to be under Torah.
Yes.
Do you not hear the Torah?
Mm-hmm.
For it has been written that Abraham had two sons, one by a female servant.
One by a female servant. This is Ishmael, the one being born according to the flesh. He was firstborn, but he was firstborn according to the flesh, because the act of lying with Hagar was no supernatural matter. Hagar was a young, vibrant woman, and so when Abraham laid with her, it was not something unnatural for her to conceive. But with Sarah, you see, who was 90 years old and whose womb was dead, and Abraham was as good as dead. You see, this was not a matter of flesh and blood. This was a matter of ruach. So he had two sons, one of the female servant, the firstborn according to the flesh, and
the other by a free woman.
the other by a free woman. Come on.
But he who was of the female servant was born according to the flesh.
Yes. See, they didn't hear it. Come on. Of the what?
But he who was of the female servant was born according to the flesh.
Oh, the promise ain't his, and the lamb wasn't slain for him. The lamb wasn't slain for him because the lamb was slain to what? To reinstitute the promise, to reinstitute the inheritance. But the son of the female servant shall not inherit with the son of the free woman. You don't get it? Come on, read.
And he of the free woman through promise. This is allegorical. But these are the two covenants. One indeed from Mount Sinai,
which was given in the flesh. Come on.
Brings forth slavery.
Yes.
Which is Hagar.
Yes.
For this Hagar is Mount Sinai in Arabia. And corresponds to Jerusalem. Which now is. And is in slavery with her children. But the Jerusalem above is free.
It's free.
Which is the mother of us all.
Which is the mother of us all. Come on.
For it has been written. Rejoice, O barren.
Rejoice, O barren. Come on.
You who do not bear. Break forth and shout. You who do not have birth pains.
Yes.
For the deserted one has many more children than she who has a husband.
Oh, I shall pour out my ruach upon all flesh. They don't get it, little one. Come on, read.
And we brothers, as Ishkak was, are children of promise.
Are children of promise, of the free woman. We are the ones laying on that altar in which the lamb was slain for. He wasn't slain for the son of the slave woman. No, he wasn't. No, he wasn't. He wasn't slain for him. He was slain for those of the free woman, those who were born from above, born of ruach, the firstborn according to the ruach. And this is what the Pasakh, this is whom the Pasakh feast is for. This is whom the Pasakh feast is for. But I don't want to get off subject. The point is, we are that offering. We are that offering. We are that offering. We're to bring him our best praise. Come on, read, little one.
But as he who was born according to the flesh, then persecuted him born according to the ruach, so also now.
So also.
But what does the scripture say? Cast out the female servant and her son.
Cast them out, because flesh and blood will not inherit the reign of Shamayim. They don't get this, little one. Flesh and blood will not inherit the reign of Shamayim. Truly, truly, I say unto you that unless one is born from above, he cannot see the reign of Elohim. The lamb was not slain for those who are operating in the flesh, because their master is still Hashatan. Come on, read, little one.
For the son of the female servant shall by no means be heir with the son of the free woman. Therefore, brothers, we are not children of the female servant, but of the free woman.
But of the free woman. Barak Yahuwah. Barak Yahuwah. Barak Yahuwah. Barak Yahuwah. Esteemed to the lamb that was slain before the foundation of the earth, who has called us out of darkness into his marvelous light, and who has sent his ruach to indwell in us, to deliver us from the reign of darkness. Because those of us who have the ruach, we are under no more obligation to obey the sinful inclination and desires of this wicked flesh, which belongs to Hashatan. We are walking unleavened. We are walking in the unleavened path of sincerity and truth. And if we continue to walk in this unleavened path of sincerity and truth, he's coming soon to gather his children, to deliver us from the hour of trial, to deliver us from the reign of darkness and bring us to Mount Zion, where we'll sing a song that no one else can sing. Barak Yahuwah. Barak Yahuwah. Come on, read, little one.
Master's supper and washing of feet.
Barak Yahuwah. Barak Yahuwah. Barak Yahuwah. Now you understand that we must come with hearts of praise. We must come bearing slaughter offerings of praise and slaughter offerings of thanksgiving. And we must praise and celebrate and dance like we've lost our proverbial minds. This is how we celebrate Pasakh. This is how we celebrate Pasakh. Barak Yahuwah. Barak Yahuwah. But speaking again and giving us further understanding for those who don't have this knowledge and this understanding, a part of the Pasakh celebration and a part of the Pasakh observance is the washing of the feet and the master's supper and the washing of the feet, the partaking of the wine and the partaking of the bread, which the Christian church calls communion. This took place, this was instituted by the master the night that he was betrayed, and this is the night before Pasakh. This was instituted then, and those of us who are of the regeneration, we follow the lead of our master. We walk as he walked, and so we too memorialize the master's supper, and we wash the feet. As he instituted, we wash the feet of one another, showing that we are one another's servants, showing that we are indeed servants of our master Yahuwah. And so as he came to serve and not to be served, and the washing of the feet, we show this example. And so we're going to look at a couple of verses here because this is also a part of the Pasakh celebration. But this takes place the night before Passover. This takes place the night before Passover. So reading now in John the 13th chapter, what verses, little one?
1 through 16.
Verses 1 through 16. John, YAHUAH'S, the 13th chapter, verses 1 through 16. Beginning at verse 1. Read, little one.
And before the festival of Pasakh, Yahusha, knowing that his hour had come, that he should move out of this world unto the Father.
And before the festival of Pasakh, before the festival of Pasakh, again, this took place the night before Pasakh. Yahusha, knowing that his time was near, and
having loved his own who were in the world, he loved them to the end. And supper taking place, Hashatan having already put it in the heart of Yehuda from Kara'uf, son of Shama'un, to deliver him up. Yahusha, knowing that the Father had given all unto his hands, and that he had come from Elohim and was going to Elohim, rose from supper and laid aside his garments, and having taken a towel, he girded himself. After that, he put water into a basin and began to wash the feet of the taught ones, and to wipe them with the towel with which he was girded. And so he came to Shama'un Kapha, and he said to him, Master, do you wash my feet? Yahusha answered and said to him, you do not know what I am doing now, but you shall know after this. Kapha said to him, by no means shall you wash my feet ever. Yahusha answered him, if I do not wash you, you have no part with me. Shama'un Kapha said to him, Master, not my feet only, but also my hands and my head. Yahusha said to him, he who has had a bath does not need to wash except his feet, but is clean altogether. And you are clean, but not all of you, for he knew who would deliver him up. So he said, you are not all clean. So when he had washed their feet and taken his garments and sat down again, he said to them, do you know what I have done to you? You call me teacher and master, and you say, well, for I am. Then if I, master and teacher, have washed your feet, you also ought to wash one another's feet. For I gave you an example that you should do as I have done to you. Truly, truly, I say to you, a servant is not greater than his master, nor is an emissary greater than he who sent him. Barak Yahuwah.
So the master instituted this practice the night that he was betrayed. He instituted the practice of the master's supper, the taking of the wine and the taking of the bread, and the washing of one another's feet, because above all else, irrespective of the calling, irrespective of the mantle that we wear, all of us are just servants. None of us are above servanthood, as none of us are above Torah, as Torah is the great equalizer, And to obey Torah is to serve. It is to submit. It is to submit. We must submit in order to obey Torah. No one is above Torah. Torah is the great equalizer. Torah causes all of us to be servants. The command to love your neighbor as yourself is equally applicable to all, irrespective of your mantle, irrespective of your gifting or your calling. It is applicable to all. And so we're to serve one another. And only through serving are we going to be exalted, and are we going to be delivered. And so the master instituted this practice the night that he was betrayed, which is the night before Pasakh, and we who are in YAHUAH'S remnant, we continue to do so. So this is indeed, again, a part of the Pasakh celebration. Come on, give us another precept, little one.
Matthew 26, 26 to 30.
Matthew 26, verses 26 through 30. Matthew 26, Yahu, chapter 26, verses 26 through 30. Beginning at verse 26. Read, little one.
And as they were eating,
yes,
Yahushua took bread, and having blessed, broke and gave it to the taught ones and said. This is the same occasion that we just read about in John 13. The only thing that is missing here is the washing of the feet. Come on, read, little one. Take, eat, this is my body. And taking the cup and giving thanks, he gave it to them, saying, drink from it, all of you. For this is my blood, that of the renewed covenant. That of the renewed covenant. Which is shed for many for the forgiveness of crimes. But I say to you, I shall certainly not drink of this fruit of the vine from now on till that day when I drink it anew with you in the reign of my Father. Barak Yahuwah. And having sung a song, they went out to the Mount of Olives. And having sung a song, praising, celebrating, they went out to the Mount of Olives. And so even in the partaking of the Master's Supper, we're going to celebrate. We're going to celebrate like we've lost our proverbial minds. And so the wine is a representation of the blood of the renewed covenant. The bread, the unleavened bread, is a representation of his broken body. And even in partaking of the Master's Supper, one must examine himself, because this is an offering. This is the Pasakh offering. And if you have uncleanness upon you, then you are not to partake of this offering. If you have not an uncircumcised heart, you are not to partake of this offering. Indeed, this was instituted now by the Master the night before Pasakh. Give us another precept, little one. We have 1 Corinthians 11, 23 to 31. 1 Corinthians 11, verses 23 through 31. 1 Corinthians 11, verses 23 through 31. Beginning at verse 23, read, little one. For I received from the Master that which I also delivered to you, that the Master Yahushua, in the night in which he was delivered up, took bread, and having given thanks, he broke it and said, take, eat, this is my body which is broken for you. Do this in remembrance of me. In the same way also the cup after supper, saying, this cup is the renewed covenant in my blood. As often as you drink it, do this in remembrance of me. The covenant has not been renewed unless the Ruach has entered into your heart. If he has not entered your heart, the covenant has not been renewed with you. Read, little one. For as often as you eat this bread and drink this cup, you proclaim the death of the Master until he comes. So that whoever should eat this bread or drink this cup of the Master unworthily shall be guilty of the body and blood of the Master. But let a man examine himself. Let a man examine himself. And so let him eat of that bread and drink of that cup. For the one who is eating and drinking unworthily. Well, unworthily, with uncleanness on them, not having a circumcised heart. Come on. Eats and drinks judgment to himself. Eats and drinks judgment to himself. Not discerning the body of the Master. Not discerning the Pasakh lamb, the body of the Master. Read. Because of this, many are weak and sick among you, and many sleep. For if we were to examine ourselves, we would not be judged. Barak Yahuwah. And this is in accordance with Torah. Torah says that no one who is unclean are able to partake of his offerings. No one who is unclean is able to partake of his offerings. Barak Yahuwah, Barak Yahuwah, Barak Yahuwah, Barak Yahuwah. So Pasakh Maspaka is a shadowing, is a shadow, a foreshadow
is a foreshadow. Bear with me. I need to put this down. Barak Yahuwah. Pasakh is a shadow in the near term. Pasakh is a shadow of Yahuwah delivering his firstborn son, his firstborn according to Ruach and not according to the flesh. It is a shadow of him coming to deliver his firstborn son according to the Ruach from the reign of darkness and from the hour of trial, which is soon to come upon the earth, and to deliver them to Mount Zion, where there is no darkness, because one of these Pasakhs, he's coming to gather his people. He's coming to gather his people and to deliver us and to save us from the reign of darkness, from the hand of Hashatan, to deliver us from the hour of trial, and to bring us to Mount Zion, where there is no darkness. Read, little one.
Revelation 14, 1 through 5.
Revelation 14, verses 1 through 5. Come on.
And I looked, and I saw a lamb standing on Mount Zion, and with him 144,000.
And with him 144,000.
Having his father's name written upon their foreheads. And I heard a voice out of the heaven like the voice of many waters, and like the voice of loud thunder. And I heard the sound of harpists playing their harps, and they sang a renewed song before the throne, and before four living creatures and the elders. And no one was able to learn that song except the 144,000 who were redeemed from the earth.
Barak Yahuwah.
These are those who were not defiled with women.
These are not those who are defiled with women. In other words, this has been explained before. These are those who are not laying with other mighty ones or other demons, but who are faithful and faithful alone to Yahuwah, our master and our husband. Come on, read.
For they are maidens. They are those following the Lamb wherever he leads them.
There are those following the Lamb's voice wherever he leads them, being perfect, not turning to the right or to the left of the Torah, but obeying every word that proceeds from our Father's mouth. Read.
They were redeemed from among men, being first fruits to Elohim and
being
to the Lamb.
First fruits to Elohim and the Lamb. First fruit follows the Feast of Unleavened Bread. First fruit follows that. And as Abba spoke this past Shabbat, first fruit is a shadow of the 144,000 being delivered unto Mount Zion, being delivered from the reign of darkness, being delivered from the hour of trial, and being brought to Mount Zion, where there is no darkness. Barak Yahuwah.
And in their mouth was found no falsehood.
In their mouths were found no falsehood.
For they are blameless before the throne of Elohim.
For they are perfect. They are blameless before the throne of Elohim. And we've been discussing this over the course now of 7 months on this ancient path, the subject of being perfect. These are those who are perfect, being born from above, not born of flesh, not born of blood, but being reborn of water and of Ruach, being perfect and blameless before the throne and before the Lamb. Barak Yahuwah. Barak Yahuwah. It is also a shadow. Finally, it is also a shadow of all of Adam, all of the firstborn according to the Ruach. It is also a shadow of a renewed earth and a renewed Shamayim, where there is no more darkness, period. There is no more need for the sun and the moon and the stars. There is no more darkness. Darkness and evil now having been completely removed from the earth and thrown into the lake of fire. Hashatan is darkness. At this point now, he's destroyed and thrown into the lake of fire. It is a shadow of us entering into eternity, where there is no more darkness. We have been now completely delivered from darkness, completely delivered from the reign of darkness, and now we are eternally dwelling in the reign of light, in the reign of Elohim. It is a shadow of this. It is a shadow of this. And so understanding these shadows and understanding what it means to celebrate, we've got to bring our best praise. Read that final text, little one.
Revelation 21.
Go ahead.
22 to 27.
Revelation 21, verses 22 through 27. Revelation 21, verses 22 through 27. Read, little one.
And I saw no dwelling place in it, For Yahuwah Al Shaddai is his dwelling place, and the Lamb. And the city had no need of the sun, nor of the moon to shine in it.
Listen, and the city had no need of the sun or of the moon to shine in it. Read.
For the esteem of Elohim lightened it.
Yes.
And the Lamb is his lamp. And the nations of those who are saved shall walk in its light. And the sovereigns of the earth bring their esteem into it. And its gates shall not be shut at all by day.
And its gates shall not be shut at all by day.
For night shall not be there.
For night shall not be there. No more darkness, Mashpaka. This is the shadow of Pasakh being delivered from the reign of darkness into its marvelous light. This is the promise that he gave to Adam. I'm going to come get you in 5,500 years and bring you out of darkness and bring you back into my light. I'm going to bring you back into the garden that you have longed for. After 5,500 years, I'm going to put on flesh of your seed, and I'm going to die as you. And afterwards, I'm going to go down into darkness and get you, and I'm going to bring you into my reign of light. I'm going to bring you back into the garden. And those of us who are of the regeneration, who have been delivered from darkness and brought into its marvelous light, we are now working out our own salvation with reverence and trembling, with the expectation that if we continue to walk this way, that he's going to bring us to Mount Zion, and ultimately we're going to enter into life. We're going to enter into eternal life where there is no more darkness. There is no more fear. There is no more evil. There is no more Hasatan. There is only righteousness. There's only light. There's only unleavened. There's only gladness of heart. And there is only celebration. And so bearing that in mind, Mashpaka.
And they shall bring the esteem and the appreciations of the nations into it. And there shall by no means enter into it whatever is unclean, neither anyone doing abomination and falsehood, but only those who are written in the Lamb's book of life.
Barak Yahuwah.
Barak Yahuwah.
Barak Yahuwah. So bearing that in mind, Mashpaka, we know what we must do.
Thank you, man.
We understand what is at stake. We understand Passover down. We understand what we must do. We must come there bringing our best praise. Bringing our best praise. Praising like we've lost our proverbial minds. The whole time. Dancing. Celebrating. Being overjoyed. Not only for the shadow of the eternal, but because of the shadow of being redeemed from the earth, being first fruits, being saved from the hour of trial, being brought to Mount Zion, where we'll be given a song that no one else can sing.
Thank you, Master.
Worship him, O Zion. Worship him, O Zion. Worship him, O Zion. For he alone is worthy. Worship him, O How beautiful are you? How beautiful are you? How beautiful are you? And you alone are worthy.
How beautiful are you? How beautiful are you? How beautiful are you? And you alone are worthy.
How beautiful are you? How beautiful are you? How beautiful are you? And you alone are worthy. Sing hallelujah. Sing hallelujah. Sing hallelujah. And you alone are worthy.
Sing hallelujah. Sing hallelujah. Sing hallelujah. For you alone are worthy.
Sing hallelujah. Sing hallelujah. Sing hallelujah. For you alone are worthy. Behold, all Zion. Behold, our sovereign comes. Behold, all Zion. Behold, our sovereign comes.
Behold, all Zion. Behold, our sovereign comes. Behold, all Zion. Behold, all Zion. Behold, our sovereign comes. Behold, all Zion. Behold, our sovereign comes. Come with me to Zion. Come with me to Zion. Come with me to Zion. Behold, our sovereign comes. Come with me to Zion.
with me to Zion. Come with me to Zion. Come with me to Zion. Behold, our sovereign comes. We shall sing on Zion. We shall sing on Zion. We shall sing on Zion. Behold, our sovereign comes. We shall sing on Zion. We shall sing on Zion. We shall sing on Zion. Behold, our sovereign God. So celebrate, oh Zion. Celebrate, oh Zion. Celebrate, oh Zion. For our redemption drawn nigh. Celebrate, oh Zion. Celebrate, oh Zion. Celebrate, oh Zion. For our redemption drawn nigh. Grab your staff, oh Zion. Grab your staff, oh Zion. Grab your staff, oh Zion. For our redemption drawn nigh. Grab your staff, oh Zion. Grab your staff, oh Zion. Grab your staff, oh Zion. For our redemption drawn nigh. Gird your redemption draw nigh. Barak Yahuwah. Barak Yahuwah. Barak Yahuwah. Barak Yahuwah. Barak Yahuwah. Barak Yahuwah. For those of you on YouTube, our redemption draws nigh. Hold fast to what you have.
Thank you, Master.
Lest you lose your crown. Don't worry about what's going on around you. Don't worry about what the heathens are worried about. Prepare yourself for Pasakh. Prepare yourself to praise and to celebrate and to dance and shout like you've lost your proverbial mind. Once again, I pray that this message has been edifying and encouraging. I pray that the seed that has been planted has not fallen by the wayside or fallen on shallow ground or falling amongst thorns, but that this seed has fallen on fertile soil, tilled and fertilized soil, so that the water of the Ruach HaKadosh will come and water that seed, so that seed grows up to become a mighty tree, producing the fruit that leads to everlasting life. So be it, so be it, so be it. Once again, we thank you for joining us. We thank you for stopping by and spending our midweek gathering with us. Until the next time, Yahuwah barak you and guard you. Yahuwah make his face shine upon you and show favor unto you. Yahuwah lift up his face upon you and give you shalom. Thus you shall put my name on the children of Yasha'al, and I myself shall barak them. So be it, so be it, so be it.